Yeah, exactly. It's very self-centered.
And what books are you referring to now?
From a Christian standpoint, I'm referring to the Bible.
Okay, the Bible. So what are your views on the Bible?
It's a great story. It's a wonderful myth.
Okay.
It contains many things that we recognize from many other pagan myths and stories, and but we have, I think, most pagans and Wiccans see kind of a conflict, for instance, when
you say it has many stories and myths in it, I'm taking that you have actually read it then.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Most Wiccans and pagans are very well read. You'll tend to have a lot of scholars in our midst.
Okay, so you have read the Bible then?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I can inject in here, I think dominantly from a dominant religion perspective, the United States is a Christian country, and many of us practicing Wiccans and pagans of all different traditions have grown up with a Christian background and a Christian foundation. So we've all been introduced to the Bible. We all know those stories. And even if we grew up in a household where that wasn't practiced, there's no way culturally you can get away from that teaching and that learning, that worldview.
Well, why I asked you the question, right, is because why I asked you that question is because you said you've read it, right? And then later on into the show, I'm gonna try and go into that a little bit, okay?
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna try and go into the Bible based on the fact that you have actually read it. You understand me? Because I know there are a lot of people out there who claim that they have been reading the Bible and they read it, and I know that you know. But being that you said you have, we're gonna go into that. All right. So what you're saying? Just one more question in regards to that. Like you'd say, you were brought up in a Christian home. Do you believe the people of the Bible are real?
You know what?
Sure. I believe that they lived at one time. Sure.
Okay.
I think it depends. One thing that we don't have a problem with is archaeology and the findings of science, and there are a lot of archaeological, there's a lot of evidence that, yes, some of those people are real, some maybe not, but the important point is not, we're not fundamentalists. We're not really focused on the absolute literal truth of whatever we read. We try to take away more of the symbolism and the message in it. It's kind of like, like watching a really good movie. You don't automatically assume that's exactly how things happen, but you try to take away the moral of the story. Okay. So that's one thing that separates a lot of us from the families and households that we grew up in, because there are quite a few fundamentalists in America.
Right. So all right then.
So can I jump in here too? We can talk about the Bible, but understand, I have read it. I haven't read it cover to cover, word for word. I haven't memorized it, and I don't myself have certain opinions about it. I don't believe it's word for word true. So I'm not an expert to talk on the topic of what's in that book, but I can certainly give you my opinion from my perspective if that's what you're looking for.
Don't worry, man. We'll go into it. We'll go into it as the show goes on. You understand? I just want, I want the listeners who are tuning in to actually to get an understanding of what you're about, what you're dealing with, and all that. Now, one of the things that I have heard, yes, and I say heard, meaning that I heard that within a religion such as what is it, Wicca? Mm-hmm. Wicca or what you call paganism, you deal with sacrifices. Is that true?
No, no. That's a Hollywood myth taken over from basically Christian accusations during the Inquisition, claiming that Christians would steal unbaptized babies and sacrifice them to the devil, and all manner of lurid stories, which is exactly what they are, lurid stories. And
so you're saying that there's you being a high priest, you've never performed any ritualistic sacrifices, no?
Not of any living being, no. definitely of a drop of wine that we'll pour out of a cup, to the gods, called a libation, or maybe a loaf of bread at a holiday, But no, we're very, Wiccans are very respectful of life. We're animists. We believe that the universe around us has soul and spirit and is alive. Even things that people don't ordinarily think of as alive, like stones and mountains and such. So we tend to be very respectful of life, and we don't know. In fact, we find it kind of ironic that people are always accusing us of sacrifice when, everyone who's sent off to war to be killed is said to be sacrificing his life, or people don't have a problem with, grinding up cows for hamburger, but boy, if somebody in a third world country, which is still a valid tradition in many indigenous religions.
How about you, John? What do you have to say about sacrifices?
Well, brother, define for me what it is you're referring to as sacrifice.
I'm referring to, whether it be sacrificing an animal, sacrificing a human, a baby, whatever.
We do not. Oh, excuse me.
Go on. I'm sorry.
Forgive me for interrupting you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Go on. What are you saying?
We do not kill living creatures.
Okay, then.
For the purpose of religious practice. Many of us eat meat, so we kill creatures to sustain our own life.
Right.
And that may be considered a sacrifice.
Right.
To me, I define sacrifice as to make sacred, almost the same definition as to consecrate. And sacrifice is always additive. It's always adding to the more. So more prayer, giving of your time, your energy, your resources to the betterment of someone or something else beyond yourself and your own self-fulfillment. So like our brother Steve was saying, offering wine, offering bread, giving gifts back to the nature spirits, giving these gifts of prayer and energy to our brothers and sisters, going without something so that someone else might have something, that is a sacrifice, and that is the kind of sacrifice that we make. But never do we take another's life. For a sacrifice to be effective and to work and hold any power at all, it must be willing, and it must be given from the person who is hoping to perpetuate it forward.
So okay, then. So I'm taking that you do some level of sacrifice then. So what would the purpose of your sacrifice be for then?
To make sacred. So here's one way that we make sacrifice. We fast all day long, not taking in any food, and then we take the money that we would have spent on meals and food and donate that to the food bank with our prayers and with our energy of abstinence, that power and that energy would go forth and feed people, and that might ease some of the suffering and some of the hunger that's in the world. That's a sacrifice. That's one that holds power.
Okay, then. I don't know who can come in and explain this one to me. What's the origins of your religion? Where does it come from?
Well, it's the indigenous religion of Europe. In other words, the native religion of Europe. I often compare it to Native American religion, only this is what they were doing in Europe until, and even during the time that Christianity tried to wipe it out. Different people draw from different threads of that. Some people draw it from England. Some people draw it from Scandinavia, the Norse myths. Some people from all different cultures in Europe. But it tends to be all pretty much drawn from the pre-Christian religions of Europe.
Oh, so wait.
Would you agree with that, John?
Yes, absolutely. Well spoken.
Okay, so you said that it's from Europe. The origins of it is European. That's what you're telling me. Basically,
yeah. Now, one thing about magic is it knows no national boundaries. So you'll find, we published Lady Passion and I published a book a few years ago called The Goodly Spell Book. It's a spell book, and it's still available, by the way. But in it, in the course of writing it and doing a lot of the research, we were just stunned again and again by how often we would find the same spells in Russian magic as we'd find in English magic, as we'd find in Sioux Indian magic. Here's one example. Everywhere you go around the world, people honor the four directions. It's just the natural thing to do. They'll honor the east, the west, the south, and the north, and they'll have correspondences with them. Like there'll be different colors, different animals that are sacred to them, maybe a little different meanings, but they're always sacred. And whenever they're cutting out, defining sacred space that they're going to do a ritual in, they'll honor each of those directions.
Okay.
So can I jump in here just a moment, please?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I need to get going, brother. I didn't clear much more time out of my schedule, and I need to bid you farewell. I can see that you are in very good hands with my brother Steve, who is very well spoken and represents our faith very adequately and very nobly.
Okay.
And
well,
I
hope
agree
you
with
will,
everything that he said so far.
Do you
have any final questions?
At some point afterwards, or get in contact, John. I'd like to talk more with you by email, if you don't mind.
I like that. I got your oldandwild.org. Can I leave you a note there?
Absolutely, yeah. You can email us through there, yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you. Blessed be.
Blessed be, brother.
Okay, John, thank you for coming on. Hopefully we'll probably get to speak to you again. Maybe next time after the show. But okay, so Steve, you're gonna be with us for the full duration.
Yeah. I've been able to set aside the whole evening. We're kind of coming up on our holiest holiday of the year, which is called Samhain, which is also Halloween, October 31st. So
Halloween is a pagan holiday. I never know that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it's and in fact, it's a lot of the fundamentalist churches here very much object to it, but yeah, you're honoring the spirits of the dead, of your dead, and of all the ones of your village, of your community, all your ancestors who came before, and that's kind of universal. Like in Mexico, the Day of the Dead, people will on that, it's like just a couple days after our Halloween, but it's right around the same time. They, all their families get together and do rituals for the departed spirits of their ancestors.
I thought Halloween was all about the kids and having the candy and the going around and the getting the streets and dressing up. I had no idea it had any significance.
Originally, that started as as a form of offering. Well, you read different scholars have slightly different theories about it, basically, but it all seems to roll around to the children represent the spirit of new life, the new generation, and by giving them candies and gifts, you're in a way kind of honoring the spirits that have gone before, and trying to kind of make sure they don't come around and cause too much mischief. The whole thing of kids causing tricks or treats, well, part of that goes back to, you want to prevent the spirits that maybe weren't given a proper send-off from causing mischief, like poltergeists do and so forth. It's said to be a time of the year when the veil between the worlds is at its thinnest. So,
I find it very funny because if most of the people that I see, that send the children out on Halloween, what you would call, good Christian people. Now, do they know that they're sending their child out to perform in something totally opposite or contrary to what they believe? No,
I don't think they think of it that way, and that's not really. I wouldn't say that's really what they're doing. That's the origin of it, and what we will do. The origin of it, it's not necessarily what people are consciously doing nowadays. But we try to be conscious about it, and we do try to, when our rituals, we do try to honor the ancestors, and people that have come before and given us what we have today, that are no longer with us.